Hello, everyone. My name is Edward S. Redcar, and I'm the host of Edward S. Redcar's Entertainer Chat. And today I have a two-for-one deal today. Not only am I interviewing one person, but I'm interviewing two guests. And they have both worked together, and you will find all about them during the interview today. And Brandon, he is a retired Marine Corps second lieutenant with 20 years and 7 months of service. He's an actor, a producer, a writer, a director, and a filmmaker, and the owner of a transportation car rental business. Congratulations, Brandon, on that, with all the posts about it, with a fleet of, I counted at least six vehicles. I don't know if you've added to that, but the last count, the last post I saw about your transportation was six vehicles. So, in the interview, correct me if I'm wrong. And he rents vehicles for films, for film festivals, vacation package, and at one time he also taught martial arts. And Erik, he is an actor, a writer, a first-time director, a filmmaker, this is very impressive, a six-degree Taekwondo black belt, father, a stunt coordinator, and a great fan of adventures, as I saw you illuminate that on your Facebook page. So, with all that said, welcome to the show, Brandon and Erik. And um, how are you both doing today? Brandon, go ahead.
I'm as usual. I'm doing about eight different shades of awesome, and yeah, I'm coming off of Eric's movie Pockets. Pretty excited to talk about that,
Hmm.
and of course, as usual, I also have some car stuff going on. So yeah, doing well, doing well.
Yeah, thanks. Good to have you on the show. And everyone, as you well know, Brandon's been on my show before. Last year, I've interviewed him before, so brought him back again, and Erik to discuss their new films. And Erik, uh, welcome to the show. And how are you doing today?
Thank you so much for having me on, Edward. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you so much. I've had the luxury of doing an interview before, but not many when it comes to the levels of production that I've been able to be involved in. But I'm always pleased to be able to produce or work on any film with my friend Brandon Keeton. I'm really lucky to do so, and so every time there's an opportunity, I jump at the chance. And when I start making stuff, Brandon's always there in my corner to back me up. So it's a really great camaraderie and partnership.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well,
You're so
before
much better at this than I am, Eric. Wow, you should do more interviews, man.
Deal.
Eric, you didn't know this, but me and Brandon made a deal. He says, when we get into the interview, he says, I'm just going to sit like this. And he says, just let Eric handle all the questions, handle it, handle it.
I'm
But,
ready. Lay them on me. Come on.
yeah, so, yeah, before I get into any of the questions here, I'll throw it out to the both of you. So either one of you, whoever wants to answer this first, jump at the question. So it's like, how did the both of you meet? Jump ball, jump ball.
You
Well,
can
it's
go
a
ahead.
funny. Okay, I'm gonna give it a shot, Brendan. It's a funny question. I was in a transition period between closing my Neill's Taekwondo and Fitness LLC Academy in 2017 and going full time into acting and stunt performing. So I had shot a very successful commercial with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Danny McBride
Really
for Pepsi
cool.
Cola. Yep, Mr. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was retiring, and that got my foothold and addiction into entertainment. So I was an avid martial artist and stunt performer, and I went to Long Island City, Queens, and did a big long audition, 7 hours for the largest stunt production company in the world, if I'm not mistaken, Feld Entertainment. They do programs like Marvel Universe Live and Jurassic Park Live. So I went there with a colleague of mine, and my colleague and I were driving back from Long Island City, Queens to North Carolina. And we had done a 7 hour long physical martial arts choreography and gymnastics audition.
Wow.
We were exhausted. Um, And I said to my colleague, I'm glad to drive your car. And she said, no, you're not driving my car. But I have a friend. And I said, what does that have to do with our trip? She said, well, my dear friend, she and her family own and operate a Taekwondo academy. Well, I knew what that was like. I owned and operated my Taekwondo academy
Uh-huh.
for
Uh-huh.
17 years. So I said, and where are they located? She said, well, they're in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, this little tiny suburb called Camp Hill. And they said, if we're ever in the area, we can just call and stop by. So I'm going to call in that favor. I'm going to call them and stop by, and we'll see if we can crash on their couch. And that is the long version of the short story of how I was lucky enough to meet Brandon Keeton and his wonderful bride, Miss Tanya. And they were ever so hospitable. They put us up in their home like we were their own kids and took care of us. And we shipped out early the next morning with good graces and well wishes.
Uh-huh.
But in the meantime, I told Brandon that I had made the transition from martial arts instructor to actor, and he was very curious. His eyebrow raised multiple times, and he asked very articulated questions.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Come to find out, he was plotting a scheme,
Uh-oh.
and that scheme is him being a extraordinarily successful director, writer, and producer, even more so than I could have imagined.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
that's how we met.
Oh, okay. 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 So
So yeah,
yeah,
I was picking his brain a little bit. I don't know if you remember from the previous interview. I had a scholarship to college
yeah.
for acting
Mm-hmm.
coming out of high school, and I didn't take it so that I could join the Marine Corps instead. And it was always in the back of my head, what if different decisions were made? What might have happened?
Uh-huh.
And then I got out of the service after 21 years and some change, and I uh, opened the martial arts school, and the martial arts school was incredibly successful,
Uh-huh.
way more successful than I thought it was going to be. So much so that I was able to do it full time.
Mm-hmm.
I When I retired, I had set my sights on getting a regular job, and then doing what a lot of martial arts school owners do, and that is just get a regular job and teach at night. And I
Mm-hmm.
was perfectly happy to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the business really started to take off pretty quick. And after about 6 months of being retired from the service and, trying to do that, work, a regular warehouse kind of job
Uh-huh.
and teach at night, the business was starting to take over. And it got to the point where I was starting to be able to pay my bills with the business and my retirement,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
which is a very nice cushion to have. Uh, if you can get it, be retired at 39 years old. That's pretty
Right?
freaking cool.
Yes.
Um,
Most people dream of that, right? That's what most people dream of. Yeah.
so I was able to make a few more business decisions
Mm-hmm.
that maybe some others would not have been able to make uh, because I had that retirement cushion.
Yeah. 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 Well,
Which made the school successful. And then when my friend called me and asked if she could come, I knew she was into stunts and stunt work, and I had um, stunt coordinators and stunt performers at my school as a way to show this isn't just something that is a hobby to you. There are actual avenues of employment
uh-huh.
that you can do with this.
Uh-huh.
And it's not just, growing up to be, Mr. Keaton or Mr. Neill and owning a school. There are other things you can do with this. So I was very interested to have another stunt performer that I could talk to.
Right.
Um, I had
Yes.
um, I had the I'm going to drop some names here. I
Good.
uh, I had the Grace sisters, Chloe and Grace. I'm sorry, the Bruce sisters, Chloe and Grace Bruce. Grace was the stunt woman for Arya Stark in Game of Thrones,
Oh,
and
okay, cool.
Chloe was the stunt woman for Gamora in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. And I had them at my school, and they were absolutely wonderful. And so I was always on the lookout for other stunt performers who I could bring in, maybe on an annual or
Hmm.
semi-annual basis.
Hmm.
And and so I talked to Erik, and it was like something clicked. I was like, okay, um, even if I don't go into the, even if I don't give this acting thing a shot,
Uh-huh.
I'm still gonna have him come out and teach some seminars.
Sure, why not?
He's,
Sure,
he's,
why
he's,
not?
he's pretty accessible. He's pretty close. The Bruce sisters are, of course, in England, and you know, it's cheaper to bring up Erik than the Bruce sisters.
Yeah, the trip is a little bit shorter than coming from like
Yeah,
let's see, what do they say? From across the pond? I think that's
yeah,
what they
yeah.
say. Oh, from across the pond. Just like if it's just stepping over a mud, over a water puddle across the pond. But no, I mean, I think it's
And I sat on this for about
okay.
a year. So after meeting Erik, I sat on it for like a year, doing more research into the industry. As an old jarhead, you plan a lot. Um, and I had spent that year planning, and
Uh-huh.
then I gave him another call. I was like, "Hey, uh, how do I do this?"
No, it's great that both of you have that in common. I mean, I think the mutual interest in the martial arts has made that bond even stronger between the both of you. If I can say that the bond is stronger, both of you feel that is like the major part of your bond, or maybe an important part of your bond that like drew you both together.
It's definitely a decisive character attribute. I tend to agree. I mean, the way that someone pursues something like a martial arts leader or like a disciplined black belt is the way that CEOs and CFOs operate in large corporate environments.
Hmm.
When it comes to being a black belt, it's more than just something that's financial and physical. It's also an emotional commitment. And so there's a lot of camaraderie amongst martial artists and even in different disciplines.
Hmm.
I was lucky enough that Brandon understood the Taekwondo component of a licensed Taekwondo academy and how they operate on a micro and a macro scale.
Okay.
And I have been a part of that for so many years that when I was done in the industry, I was delighted with the opportunity to move my talents somewhere else. And
Uh-huh.
although it's a very challenging industry, I, like a black belt, decided to pursue it with the same level of discipline. And
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
feel like I've been able to do so. And a lot of a lot of my school colleagues from when I was younger have said, "Wow, that's just remarkable that you could pursue something with the dedication and skill that you learned when we were younger."
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
they do the same thing. They just can't reflect on how that happens.
Right, right, right. And another thing that they're always saying that an actor has to have, or it's a good idea or recommended for an actor to have as many tools in his toolbox, referring to like experience or, different things that they know how to do, whether it be like martial arts or swimming or training like weapons training, firearms or swords or knives. I know a good friend of mine. Uh, he was going to be involved in a movie that happened maybe like in the Middle Ages, and they did a lot of that, hand-to-hand combat. So he actually had to go through training, through knives, through swords, axes, everything like that. But definitely, the martial arts is definitely advantage for both of you to have in your acting toolbox, if you want to term it that way. And it makes it makes you both uh, 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 say from an acting point of view, it gives you more like credibility for a role. It makes you more, say, like attractive to like casting directors if they're looking for a certain type of skill set, skill level. Definitely, both of you
Yeah.
can really bring a high level of that to the game for both of you. So,
Well, there's also a little bit of a shorthand The first thing, and I was delighted to do it. The first feature film that I did, as an executive producer and an actor, was to bring Erik on as a stunt coordinator
Mm,
and let him do some acting as well. Um, and there was a shorthand in what we did. I don't, in our in the verbal, are you going to do this? Are you going to do this? How are you going to approach, doing this? And and again, knowing him the way I did, I knew everybody was going to be safe, and I knew everybody was going to,
hmm
we
hmm
were going to have a safe set
Oh
when
yeah.
it came time to do, the stunts.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And of course, and the actors loved having him on set as well. It felt like one of the comments was that, um, one of the comments from one of the actors was, I'm glad Erik was there, because if he wasn't, this fight would have looked stupid.
In other words, it would have looked too staged, right?
It would have looked too
Yeah, it's
staged instead of the way it ended up, turning out on camra. Um, and and again, there was a shorthand
right, right, right.
in that conversation.
Right, right. It's better for others to think about, say, like if they see a fight scene or whatever, to think about, oh, geez, that looks fake. That looks staged. That looks faked. I don't believe it.
Right.
But on the other end of the spectrum, not knowing that there was a whole bunch of safety procedures involved, with them saying, "Oh my God, I thought somebody was going to get hurt." Bring them up to that level where they thought that something really bad was going to happen, but all the while you guys had it all under control. So that's realism, that's belief. So yeah, no, kudos to you both for having a high degree of training, and know-how and in prowess and all that. So yeah, but with all that, yeah, it makes me glad that you guys uh, eventually gravitated toward each other and started to work together. And like Brandon, in your film stories, Erik was the executive producer and also co-produced stories with you. And so your stories film at the Military and Veterans Awards in LA in April, received an honorable mention. It's been an official selection at the 2026 Love and Hope International Film Festival in Barcelona, Spain in October, which I'm going to be attending again this year, and I look forward to seeing your film stories screened again. And at the North Film Festival at the Producers Club in New York City in June, of which I also was there to see it. It received the award for Best Horror Short. At the 2026 Farmstead Film Festival in Pennsylvania, you received awards for uh, almost seems like the whole spectrum. Best horror short at the 2026 Farm Festival, Pennsylvania. Best acting ensemble, best screenplay, best actor for Austin Green, and it's also been an official selection um at the end of this month at the 2026 Loveland Shorts Film Festival in Cincinnati, Ohio. So you already have a whole list of accolades along with it. So there's no way that no one cannot look forward to see the screening of that film. So with all that said, and all that you've done, what motivated you to create the film stories? And just tell us a little bit of what it's about.
Oh, I love telling this story. Telling the story about stories. So I actually wrote the short. There you go.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I told each of them whether or not they're wearing advertisements for the two films we're going to talk about or any other films in the past. There's no shame in promoting on this show. I promote my show. Watch my show, please. I told the same thing to them. So, but I digress. Brandon, go ahead.
Uh, I can't remember what I was saying now.
Oh, oh no, you were saying I love telling the
Oh, the
story
story
about
about how
stories.
the story about how stories got made. So I wrote the original short story version of the film when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
I was in English class, and the assignment was to write a short story. And of course, 12-year-old, my brain is going elsewhere. I want to be other places. And everybody has a band that they listen to for life.
Hmm.
And if you don't have a band that you listen to for life, I would highly encourage you to get more into music.
Yes,
There's,
right.
there's so much out there. Well, my band from since 1978, when I was 4 years old, has been Genesis.
Oh yeah, that's a good choice.
And so it was, I'm 12 years old. It's 1985. Uh, Phil Collins's solo album, No Jacket Required, had just come out, had Studio on it, and
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
all the big, and he was killing it. Well, based on the success of that, I had gone back and purchased the entire library of Genesis up to that point,
Wow.
and I was deep into it. Well, I would try to come up with a story that I could write for English class, and
Uh-huh.
and one of their songs comes on, just a job to do, and I'm listening to the lyrics, and it's about an assassin chasing his contract, and I was like, oh wow, 12-year-old boy, oh cool, gunfights and car chases, yeah, I'll write
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that,
yeah, right.
so I write there, and then I get stuck again. I'm like, ah, man, okay, it can't just be gunfights and car chases. Where is he chasing him to?
Uh-huh.
And then, like right on cue, Home by the Sea comes on. And Home by the Sea is a song about a haunted house. So 12-year-old me is like, oh wow, this is great. He's gonna chase him into a haunted house, and then ghosts are gonna happen, and then chaos is gonna ensue. And so I turned it in, finished up writing it, turned it in, and it sat in my brain for 40 years.
Wow.
And throughout my entire the rest of high school,
Uh-huh.
my entire time in the Marine Corps,
Uh-huh.
and 10 years of owning a martial arts school, and it sat there. And then one day I'm sitting on the couch, and I'm remembering something that my acting coach had told me, which is how Turbo Cola got made.
Uh-huh.
And that is, if you want to see it, go make it.
Right? Just
And I'm
do
sitting
it.
on the couch, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. I'm in the entertainment business now. I make pretty decent movies.
Right?
I can make this.
Right? Go
And
for it.
so I knocked out a script in like 6 weeks, and 9 months later we were filming.
Uh-huh.
And once again, I call Erik to do some stunt coordination,
Okay.
some firearms work, and to do a little bit of acting, because I had heard his Russian accent during an audition one time,
Okay.
because we auditioned, with each other. We
Right,
read for
right.
each other, and I heard his Russian accent one time, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna put that in the back of my head. And
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna remember this. I'm gonna remember this. There's gonna be something. I'm gonna ask him to do a Russian
Uh-huh.
sometime in the future. And like, a year and a half later, he's
That was
playing one of the Russian gangsters in
yeah,
in
yeah,
stories. Yeah.
yeah. So Eric, that one part of your toolbox, we were talking about toolbox, came in handy, being able to do a Russian accent. I mean, that's pretty impressive right there. I mean, besides say speaking the Russian language, I guess I've heard that's probably one of the hardest languages to learn, but having the dialect
Well, I'll bet you're
with
right, Edward. I'll bet it's one of the hardest languages to
that's
learn, and
that's
that's
what
why I
I've
haven't learned any of it. I am a great
Me either.
mimic.
Me either. I
Thank
haven't
you.
learned
Right.
any of it either.
Right. Well, that's actually an interesting feat of mine as an actor. I'm a great mimic, especially
Okay.
kinesthetically, and that's how I got to my levels of black belt expertise. That's how
Okay.
I've trained in weapons, jujitsu, judo, kali, and other systems. And so, as a function of being a mimic, I've got a pretty good ear. But also genetically, my hearing is now failing as I get into my later 40s. But I loved all of the character actors, and I'm fascinated by accents. I'm fascinated by names and the regional changes in the way that we speak.
Hmm.
I was very privileged in meeting a large contrast of people in college as I went to a historically black college in North Carolina called North Carolina Central University.
Uh-huh.
And then I trained martial arts with hundreds, if not thousands, of different people from all around the world. Some would be from Korea, some from Europe, some from
Uh-huh.
South
Uh-huh.
America.
Uh-huh.
And so I have an ear for accents, and then I have some actors that I tend to emulate. But when I was in Burbank, California, I was
Uh-huh.
associate producer on a wonderful project where Brandon connected me with a fellow producer, and Josh and I worked together on a film called Darkness of Man. And
Hmm.
in that film, I played a Russian mobster. And I was lucky enough to be able to drop my Russian accent and be a corrupt mobster and work along very famous individuals like Jean-Claude Van Damme and Weston Coppola and
Cool.
even the
Cool.
professional fighter Nick Diaz. I
Uh-huh.
was very
Uh-huh.
fortunate to be able to be a part of that project. And so Brandon saw that movie. He goes, "Oh, you really can do Russian. Okay." Um, and once we established that, we really ran with it. And
Yeah.
I can do a few things. I can kick people in the head. I can drop a Russian accent, and every once in a while, I can direct a movie.
Right. Right. If they don't listen to you, no matter what accent you're using, American English, Russian, whatever, like you said, you can always kick them in the head, not knock some sense into them, right? You can knock some.
Absolutely, that's
If you
default how we operate on all of our sets. That's totally normal.
Right, right, right. If you can't convince them otherwise, well, you just have to go to plan B. That's all. Just go to plan.
Inevitably, exactly. But what's interesting is I haven't really produced or written anything that's in depth with the amount of martial arts that we understand.
Okay,
To be
okay.
able to perform at an elite level of sports stunts
Uh-huh.
is very demanding. It's demanding on the productions, demanding on the writing, and of course on the cinematography. And so I feel like I need to kind of graduate to that level. And
Okay.
having
Okay.
just done a sci-fi drama, which has its own challenges with things like special effects,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
of course
yeah.
excellent casting. The
Hmm.
casting that we went
Hmm.
through
Hmm.
was a long process, but also really I think made the picture what it is and what it will be able to demonstrate to our audience.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up about casting because I was just going to ask the both of you. So since you brought it up first, I'll ask you first, Eric.
Sure.
Um, uh, do the both of you um, cast like local talent, a combination of local and non-local talent, and do you have a particular approach to casting? I'll start off first with you, Eric.
Sure. When it comes to casting, the first thing I do is I write roles for the colleagues that I trust. And so all three executive producers on my last film, Pockets, were also actors in the film. And so I have unconditional trust in their thespian abilities. And then when it comes to their production contributions, it's unmatched. And so a big part of the way that Brandon and I particularly make films is we put the people in them that we have a lot of confidence in.
Hmm.
Then, of
Hmm.
course, there's some gaps in the cast. There's some roles that we don't have that colleague. And I cast nationally. I cast a very talented actor from New York City named Thomas Ben Chubb. And
Hmm.
Thomas is an extraordinarily talented actor that we were very lucky to get. But I also cast from South Carolina.
Okay.
for another one of my leads. Sierra Saka is from Charleston, South Carolina, and I was very lucky to have her come up. She was really familiar with the Pennsylvania area because she had family there, and I had spent a part of her professional career in that area. And then one of my final leads that I was really lucky to get was a gentleman that I have a long reputation with. His name is Austin Connor Green. Austin is also the lead in
Okay.
Stories.
Yes.
I
Yes.
called him personally, Mr. Edward, and I said, I think that you could carry this film Pockets. I'd like to hear your opinion on that. And we
Okay.
talked about everything from character development to schedules to negotiations. And we met at a place where I think that Austin really did an extraordinary job in carrying
Uh-huh.
Pockets for us. And with those three talents alone, now he's in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, which isn't quite
Hmm.
local when it comes to where we shot in Lancaster, although he is a Pennsylvania native. We really had to source from everywhere, and I think
Okay.
that it was the best solution for our project.
Okay. Okay. So, besides all of that criteria that you were just mentioning about casting, uh, do you start off like in your mind, say, with a certain like mental picture of what the character will look like, or does it kind of change once you see their acting ability?
What's
Is
funny
it
you
like,
mentioned that.
yeah,
Yeah, I had one of those moments. We did a first call for the role of Lori Baines, and Lori's a very complex and important character in the story.
uh-huh, uh-huh,
We had done a casting call locally in Pennsylvania, and we had seen a large montage of actresses. And I said to my colleagues, "These are the three I like." And the woman that we cast, Sierra, wasn't on that list. And one of the other producers goes, "Yeah, there's a reason why you didn't like her audition." And I was like, what do you mean there's a reason? They said, well, she's in really high demand. And when she auditioned for us, she wasn't off book because she doesn't have the luxury of the time for being off book. But she really wants to be a part of this. Why don't you give her a call back and see what you think? And so I saw a large group of actors and actresses, and I really had to rely on a lot of the expertise of my colleagues to give the right people the right look. And once
hmm
I saw Sierra Saka read for Lori, I was absolutely convinced. I knew 100% she was the best call, and I can't wait to make a feature film from the same script content so that she can
hmm
be in the feature too.
Okay, so it was like the complete package, the looks, the talent. So that was those were the selling points that made it a no-brainer, right? It's like I absolutely have to have her right in the film.
Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
felt the same way with Paul Hood. Paul Hood's a wonderful friend of ours who's an extraordinarily accomplished stage
hmm
actor in York and the central Pennsylvania area. And once the role was written, I thought immediately we should definitely put Paul into that role. That role is
hmm
that's for him. And so when I called him, he was excited to be a part of it. He jumped at the chance. He arrived at the occasion and came prepared more than anyone could
Uh-huh.
expect. And so, just like Sierra, we work with the consummate professionals that bring quality to the production more than just our say so on who's qualified to be cast.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
Chris Nolan, a famous director, once said, your actors are the experts in their character. As a director, your goal
hmm
is to make sure that you coordinate with them to see where that character goes.
hmm
And I really try to give my talent that freedom to
hmm
show me where their character comes from and where it goes because they really are the experts.
hmm Yeah, I know that Brandon as well. He goes, for nothing but the best in his characters and his films too. So Brandon, I'll ask the same thing of you. Was stories local talent, local and non-local, and how do you approach your method of casting?
It's a mixed bag, really. Um, for a feature film like Turbo Cola, um, we needed to, and again, it was contingent on, so like when we were casting for Turbo Cola, I didn't know anybody. I I didn't know anybody. It was my first. I had been literally in the business for 6 months
Okay.
when when uh when I went to go make my first feature film. So,
You got to
looking back,
start.
I'm
You
like,
got to start somewhere, right?
looking back, I'm like, knowing what I know now, I don't know if Turbo Cola would have ever gotten made because it just sometimes it just pays to be stupid and not know what you don't know and just jump in. And that's what I did. Um, to great, to great success. Especially for a first film.
Uh-huh.
But when we did Turbo Cola, we went through the local actors pretty quick in the audition. So
Okay.
at the request of the director, we opened it up to a national audition.
Hmm.
And because of the timing in which we were filming, there were there were 13,000 um, auditions. We got sent roughly 13,000 auditions
Wow. Wow.
for Turbo Cola,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and whittling that down to, I mean, even a top 10 was was pretty difficult, except for one or two parts. uh, there was one part. The there was one part. Anthony Anthony Notoriety. I'm gonna murder his name again. Anthony Notoriety. He was the very first audition we saw for
Okay.
the part of Erik in Turbo Cola, and we knew immediately
I,
he's the guy.
I want you, like
So,
Uncle Sam. I want
yeah.
you, right?
So, but then, you get into like for the short films, I did a short film called Calls, which was
Mhm.
um, totally local, except for one actor that we got from New York as our lead.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Stories was pretty local, except for Erik. And with the exception of Erik, pretty much everyone was local on Stories.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think for a feature, you can open it up a little bit. For a
Yeah.
short, I like to stay more local, but I still,
Okay.
again, like Erik said, sometimes you're going to have a gap in your friend group.
Right. Yeah, right, right.
You just got to bring somebody in.
I've never heard it put quite that way. If you have a gap in your friend group, I like the way that sounds. It's got a nice ring to it.
I don't play young minority women very well. It's just it's a part of my resume. I just can't cover that particular scope.
Except except if you lived back way when in Shakespeare's time at the Globe Theater, then
That's
you
right.
would be cast. Then you would be cast.
Inevitably.
Inevitably. But Brandon, I know that yeah, your casting process is excellent. We both worked with the actress Brittany Christine from LA. I've had the pleasure of working with her, and I've had the pleasure of seeing her perform, in your work. So
And Brit
yeah.
and having said that, Brittany's going to see this interview and she's going to realize I forgot to mention Brittany as being an out of talent and out of
Town.
location talent.
Out of delegation.
So there was also Brittany. Brittany, don't kill me. She's from Los Angeles, and we did bring her in as one of our actors for Stories. Yes.
Okay, okay. And now to make this as painless possible, I will quickly move to the next question. So,
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
so,
goodness.
this will go to you, Erik. I see that you've been an actor. Well, you've already told us some of your background. An actor for about 10 years, and now this is your um, first time work as a first time director with your debut of the film Pockets in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And you also co-produced this film with Brandon. Uh, this time being the executive producer. And so you also wrote this film, and the film was shot in just 5 days. Uh, and that was during the third week of June this year.
Yes, sir.
So since you are also an actor, Erik, um, have you worked with any members of this cast, say in the casts of like other projects you've been in, and was it a challenge to make the transition from an actor to wearing the director's hat?
Well, thanks for asking. That's a tough one. I've had the privilege of working with Suji Cruz and Greg Papa and Brandon Keaton and Austin Green before. And
Okay,
of those four, now three of them are producers.
okay,
And so I think this is my third, maybe even fourth project with Austin Green.
uh-huh,
Austin has an amazing scope. And so every opportunity that I can get to be a part of a project, it's inevitably including Austin in some capacity.
hmm
And so when I'm working on a project, I have a real organizer's mindset. I think about how I can perform better as an actor. I
uh-huh,
think about that in the stunt arena and even in my contributions to production. Because we all contribute to the same project when you're on a set.
right,
It doesn't
right,
matter whether you're putting up a light or whether you're putting out food for everyone to eat
hmm
in between catering events.
Yes.
Everyone has a critical role. And so I think that when I was exclusively in front of the camera, I was always trying to collaborate in that lane of
Okay,
where
okay.
performers can make the production as effective and efficient and strong as possible.
Uh-huh.
And now that I'm behind the camera, it's a 4 lane highway. It's not just a 2 lane road. And so, for lack of a better analogy, now I have to be in the fast lane when it comes to instant decisions and cinematography, and I can be in the cruise control lane when it comes to being part of the cast on screen with no
hmm
lines. I
hmm
definitely pulled a Kevin Smith. Yeah, I saved a little bit of money and I worked really hard on being a character in pockets that had as little verbally to contribute as possible. And it allowed me to save some money on production and talent,
hmm
and it inevitably allowed me to have a role that I've always wanted. I always wanted to be kind of a big heavy in a film and
hmm
scowl a little bit and show off the muscle. It's pretty
Yeah, yeah.
fun.
Show off
Um,
them Taekwondo muscles,
that's
right?
right. Put the guns out there.
That's
And
right.
then inevitably, as I transitioned behind the camera, it was very intimidating. But my colleagues, Suji, Brandon, and Greg,
Uh-huh.
all backed me up in so many capacities from pre-production to the day of the shoot that they gave me immense compliments from "you're getting better at this" to "good choice." And then Brandon tried to sabotage me. Yeah, on day one of the production, he tried to sabotage
No,
me. He
no.
did. Yeah, the very second place we were shooting, in the afternoon, he pulls me aside, and we're next to a couple of the other actors and producers, and he starts telling me how proud he is of me. That asshole. He started getting to my emotions, and he was talking about our legacy, about how we were doing a good job, and how we started from the bottom and now we're all the way up here, and how he's proud of me. And damn it, I almost lost my cool. Um,
You
but
build them up to break them down. You build them
right,
up to break them
like
down.
any good stunt performer, I hit all my feelings in my muscles.
Yeah.
So when I have bigger feelings, I just work on getting bigger muscles. And
Right.
the long story short is I'm just so lucky because it's not just being with people that you know and trust. It's about people that have the same ambitions, the same ethics,
Right,
and
right, right.
ultimately the same career goals. We
Uh-huh.
want our
uh-huh.
art to represent us and to be seen in the broadest possible audience, so that we can go and make more art because we're damn good artists.
Right,
And it
right.
doesn't matter whether we're throwing hands and feet in the martial arts academy, or whether we're orchestrating another business transaction in a huge transportation company, or making a film that we're gonna expand to a huge streaming level. Our goal is to pitch this around the country to
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
all of the platforms that Pockets and Stories both have capacity for series and for feature and for short collaborations and all of those things. And the
Uh-huh.
reason
Uh-huh.
that we have that potential is because we have Brandon Keaton on our team.
There you go. There you go. Here, 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 here.
Well, I also want to give a shout out to the DP on Pockets, Tony
Yeah.
Marion.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I think if you're going to make the transition to directing, I think this was probably, I think Pockets was probably the best way to go because you had so many people who had directed things before.
Hmm.
And
Even our sound
so
engineer had directed things
our
before. Yeah.
sound engineer, yep.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um, I mean, you had what was that? One, two, three, four. That's five people within close proximity of Erik who have all directed something
Uh-huh.
before.
Uh-huh.
And so the suggestions that were being made to Erik weren't just, willy-nilly suggestions.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were based on experience.
Uh-huh.
And of
Uh-huh.
course, it's his project. He's the director. He's going to make the final call.
Final
But
decision. Yeah.
but the suggestions that were being able to be made along the way,
Uh-huh.
you know, didn't come from, hey, let's just try this.
Yeah,
It
right.
was they were normally based in something that they had seen before,
Yeah.
based on
Yeah.
experience,
Yeah. Yeah.
previous experience. So I think if again for a first time director, if you're going to do something, if you're going to be a first time director, I think this Pockets was probably the
Uh-huh.
safest thing you could have done as far
Uh-huh.
as the crew goes.
That's
Well, I
you. I
surrounded
mean,
myself with with a horribly huge amount of talent that was way more qualified than myself.
yeah. I,
I mean, Mike Powell, our gaffer, he's worked on huge productions and been in IATSE productions for almost a decade. Carolyn DeRosa, our sound engineer, like we mentioned earlier, had
mhm.
directed and produced her own material. Suji Cruz and Greg Papa own Roaming Shadow Productions, and so they make content every year and often.
Uh-huh.
So, like, not only did I surround myself with like the best people, but when I got suggestions, I got a bullet list of expert
Right,
contributions,
right,
not
right.
just cinematography suggestions, and it
Yeah.
really was a big difference.
Yeah, it wasn't just wild guesses just pulled out of the air, say, hey, what, maybe you should try this, maybe you should try that, but they've already been like field tested, actual occurrences and experience. Yeah, no, that's huge. Yeah, since you both talk about the cinematography, I remember an interview that was given to Orson Welles when he was first starting out, and he did his first film at like what 21 or 22. What is it, Citizen Kane? He did it. He was like in his early 20s. And he says, I made that. He says, that was my first film. I had absolutely no experience making a film. All I know is that I wanted to do a film. And the name escapes me now, but his director of photography is the one who picked him out. He says, I want to be your director of photography. And Orson Welles says to him, well, I don't have any experience. This is my first film. He says, exactly. He says, you don't know what you're doing. And I guess he was saying that's until you get experience on under your belt, it's uh, like that is the best motivation to like try new things. You don't know what can't be done yet. Something along those lines. But yeah, since you both mentioned direct DP's director of cinematography, that just came to my mind. I thought that was like a great quote that I heard, especially from the director God, Orson Welles, in that fashion like that. Um, I'll just continue the conversation with Erik. When I first began corresponding with you, you messaged me and uh, you says to me that you and Brandon made a unique arrangement for these two films, and I know that both of you have talked about how you met and came to know each other. So, is that the unique arrangement that you were telling me about, Erik, or was that something different?
It's even more involved, to be
Okay,
honest.
okay,
When it came down to making stories, I had a number of occasions said to Brandon, I really don't care what you're making. I want to be a part of it.
okay.
And he goes, oh, okay. And that's a real brief description about how we made the short film Calls. And so when it came to stories, we had kind of a last minute bit of chaos. There was one particular talent who was also an investor who decided that he was going to go to a different project. And he's a very talented individual.
Uh-huh.
and we didn't want to lose him. But when losing that talent, we also lost part of his investment.
Oh,
And Brandon said to me, I don't know where I'm going to go with this. As I brainstorm, I think that Erik, it would be a good idea for you to be a part of this investment. And we'll cast this person that you already know, and he's going to be a great contribution to the film. And I said, I would be glad to financially invest in the film. And he goes, and my even better idea is when you make your movie, I'll invest the same amount back.
oh,
So
great,
it's not a
great.
huge net gain or loss for either one of us, but we need to have these operational financial funds
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
things like pay the cast and crew. You wouldn't believe how many projects are done where at the end of the week, folks go, good luck. Maybe you'll see a check in that 30.
yeah, right,
But that's not
yeah.
the way we roll. To be honest, I can attest to the fact that Brandon and I, at the end of our productions, we walk across the entire set and see everyone and look them in the eye and hand them a paycheck with their name on it. Doesn't matter whether
Awesome.
they're cast or crew or a production assistant or any stage in between, wardrobe, makeup.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Everyone gets compensated for their time. And at the end of those productions, we know for a fact not only is it loyalty and a professional relationship that we're building. But when we go back to make more projects, people line up to work with Brandon Keeton. I know individuals in Pennsylvania that have said to me privately under the table, I he told me he'd call me and he hasn't yet. Is it just me? And I go, yeah, it's just you. Brandon's great. If he needs you, he'll call you. And if he doesn't need you, he's not going to call you. And it's it's a real testament that when we've got a close knit group of people that we know are going to work towards the
Uh-huh.
same ends and means, it always comes together. But I'm sure Brandon has some insight that I didn't get to yet.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead, Brandon. Your take on that arrangement.
Well, I learned I again I learned leadership and management in the Marine Corps.
Hmm.
I my my master's degree is in business, specifically leadership and management. And so there are certain things that a leader does. And again, this goes back to my time in the military.
Uh-huh.
There are certain things that a leader does. A lot of people confuse leadership and management, and they're not the same thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and one of the things that you can do as a leader to build loyalty is to just pay your freaking people.
Yeah,
I mean, just I
right.
mean, it sounds so easy, but there are and like Erik said, there are so many productions. And I learned this early on when I didn't get paid for something.
Hmm.
I had been acting for like 3 or 4 months. I did a project, and they promised a certain paycheck, and 3 months later, I was like, "Hey, where are we on this?" And
Yeah,
they
right.
just ghosted me, and I don't know. So I knew that that was not the way to go.
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
So when we did Turbo Cola, I paid everybody the day that we wrapped. I handed everybody a check. I
uh-huh.
shook everybody's hand and said thank you.
Yes, yes.
Um, and subsequently, I got to work with some of the actors again from Turbo
Mhm.
Cola because yeah, they know Brandon pays on time.
Yes,
Not
yeah.
only does he pay on time, but he pays the day you wrap.
And he's grateful. He'll say my name and look at me in the eye and shake my hand.
And
There
say
You
you
know,
thank
go.
you.
invaluable leadership.
Um,
Right, right.
and I do that on all of my films
Uh-huh.
that I do. I I did make, in full disclosure, I did make the mistake of saying on stories that I was going to pay everybody through one of the pay apps.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I didn't have the upgraded version of that app, and
Uh-oh.
so after the first 5 people, it shut me off. I was like, ah.
Oh no.
So I drove around Pennsylvania. I drove around everywhere from Philly to Pittsburgh to Gettysburg, an entire weekend to their address to pass out the paychecks.
Oh my
Because
God.
again, I promised they
Right?
would get paid, when we wrapped. and
And they
I
probably all
and they
said, this
and
is,
even though I didn't actually pay the majority of them on the day we wrapped,
yeah,
they still got their paycheck the next day,
yes,
you know,
yeah,
which still, it still keeps me in good graces.
right. And they
So that
pro
was probably on the producer side, that was probably one of the suggestions that I thought would go, you know, would continue that with Erik producing and directing.
oh, right, right, right.
And it worked. And the comments from people that you get, wait a minute, hold on, I'm getting paid now, you
Oh,
know.
right, yeah.
What? um
And especially
and
on that weekend, he actually came and personally delivered my paycheck to me, right? So
yeah, yeah.
that,
Now we did have some actors that were represented by, talent agents.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we worked it out. And again, I don't want to get into the weeds on how you did that, Erik, but
I'll tell you.
everybody still got paid on time.
Yeah, everybody got paid. I'll tell you a funny story about myself. So one
Okay.
of our lead actors, we hired through an agency out of New York City, and we didn't know this gentleman, and he was the perfect contribution to our cast. Thomas, I've named him before, Thomas Job, and as a function of us casting him through his agency, we had to pay his agency directly. That's the way productions work. You pay the agency, and they have a percentage that they are compensated, and they pass their payment to the talent. So when we started talking about booking him, I was expecting a negotiation. And we had 5 days of shooting in a row. And one of the days in the middle, he wasn't needed on set.
Uh-huh.
I think it was Thursday. Thursday out of Monday through Friday, he wasn't needed on set. And so technically, he wasn't working. Now, and also, in all technicality, could he have left central Pennsylvania over 150 miles from home, worked a totally different job, and come back in a reasonable expectation to continue to work on our project? No, not at all. So his agent didn't negotiate for 5 days. But at the end of the production, I informed them I am compensating him for 5 days. And they said, but wait, this is backwards. Nobody negotiates in reverse to pay the actor more. And I
Right.
said, but could he have done an extra job for you on the middle of the week on a Thursday had he still been obligated to this production on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday? And they said, of
Mm-hmm.
course not. I said, well, that's exactly why we need to compensate him for his time.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, okay. I mean, we'll invoice you for it. We're not going to argue against it. Sure, go ahead. And that's
They're
exactly
agents, they're
what we
not going to
did.
argue with that.
Right?
No,
Like
they're
the
not
agent's going to
gonna.
go, no, don't send me more money. Yeah, the agent's never going to argue against that. But it's also back to the integrity of like, if I'm on that set as an actor, I would expect to be compensated for 5 days, even if it did take a little bit of haggling and negotiating. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
his agent wasn't a bad agent for not negotiating on that factor. They were being very literal and pragmatic. I was the individual that was being, presumptuous. And my presumption is that if I was going to get all of the performance from that actor for the entire week, I needed to compensate him for it. And that's what we
Mm-hmm.
did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, yes, at least, and they can say that he compensated it for us instead instead of putting it off and have them waiting, uh, for how long of a time to be paid. But no, that's very good quality, paying them on time and then it
Think about what that does mentally.
oh yeah,
Not only to the actor, because the actor, if we ask, if we have a need for his type again, well, of course yeah, I remember that. Yeah, and they paid me for 5 days, even though I worked four.
right,
You know,
right.
he's gonna remember. Now, what does that do on the agent side, though?
Hmm.
Because a lot of agents that I have come across, they don't really want their actors doing short films.
Yeah, they want them to graduate to,
Well, they
yes.
want them to, a lot of commercials, a lot of features, a lot of series. That's what
Hmm.
they want their
Hmm.
actors doing,
Hmm.
Let alone independent.
let alone independent
Yeah,
short films.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so what does that do to the agent now?
Hmm. Hmm.
When we ask that agent again, hey, we've already talked to your actor. We'd like to have him on the project. the agent's going to be less inclined to, talk the actor out of it. No, we got better things going on. Uh, and I don't know. I think that Erik did the right thing by handling it that way,
Hmm.
on both the actor side and the agent side.
Hmm. Hmm.
But again, that builds loyalty, that
It
builds
does. It
trust.
does. It does.
Um,
And
and think about, again, for the agent side, maybe they have somebody else for something else that we're trying to do.
hmm. Hmm.
We know we can go back to that person and say, "Hey, it's us again.
Yeah,
Remember us,
remember us? Yeah.
people that paid you extra."
No,
So
yeah. No, I was going to
we got
say,
another project here. If
yeah.
you want to help us out.
Right. No, I was going to say it makes both of you more attractive to actors to want to work with you again, knowing that everything was like above board and honest and on time. So yeah, you definitely have like the same or even a greater pool of actors because they might tell other actors that they know. Hey, if you audition for so and so, Brandon or Erik, they're going to pay you on time. So that's going to give them an incentive to want to audition. Not saying that they'll get the part, but they'll want to, well, like they say, word of mouth. Word of mouth spreads, and you'll have like an even bigger pool of actors, more than, the ones that you do now. Um, in keeping line with that, Brandon, I'll ask you for like for your projects, like after you make like all of the film festival run for like stories, after the Love and Hope International Film Festival is over, in Barcelona. Um, are you at liberty to say if you're starting any future projects?
Oh, I've already started.
Okay. I
Yeah, I've
know
already
I know
started.
the answer to that, but it's like, well, I gotta ask. I know you had a lot of things in the pipeline, so
Yeah, I do.
that's yeah.
I'm once again, I'm going back to the well of when I was 12 years old.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay. That's
there
cool.
is a lengthy, once again, for English class. Uh, God bless Mrs. Walters. Uh,
We all remember our English teachers'
my,
names. Yes.
my eighth
Yeah.
grade English teacher. Um, the and I was fortunate to do the eighth grade twice. So,
Got double
Well,
good at it.
you got more of a reservoir for films now. It's to your
there you
advantage.
go. But yeah, I'm going back to the well of something that I wrote when I was 12. It's a lengthy poem, much akin to Casey at the Bat, very long
Oh,
poem.
okay, cool.
Um, it's called Billy Cuts the Grass. And I
Okay.
always imagined it as a cartoon, so I'm making a cartoon. I literally just signed the contract today,
Oh,
like
really?
literally 10 minutes
Congratulations.
before I got
Wow.
on, 10 minutes before I got on with you guys.
Well,
I
this is an
finished
exclusive Edward S.
yeah.
Redcar's Entertainer Chat. Brandon Keaton's new film. See, I told you, I don't hold back when it comes to plugs. My shows or your films or anything. You heard it here first. Okay, I had to get that out. Okay, continue, continue.
It'll be a short cartoon, short film cartoon.
Okay.
Um and it being animated by CBC Cartoons down in Texas.
Oh, wow, cool.
And yeah, like I said, I just literally before I got on here with you guys, 10 minutes before I got on, I signed the contract and turned it in. And
I'm glad we timed the interview at this time because everything just meshed right
worked
now.
out according to plan. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Let's see. What was a popular program that says "I love it when a plan comes through" or something like that?
Yeah, I
But
love it when
yeah.
a plan comes together. Hannibal from
Right.
A
Yeah.
Team.
There you go. There you
I'm
go.
the face man to his Hannibal.
There.
There you go.
Everybody wanted to be Dirk Benedict. Who wouldn't want to
Right.
be Dirk
Right. Yeah.
Benedict?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That
But
was the actor back in the day. Yeah, Dirk. Yeah. But no, that worked out
so
really well. Yeah.
I have that. I have the cartoon. I have a feature that once again I'm teaming up with the director of Turbo Cola with, and I don't want to give this one
Oh, no,
away too
no,
much,
no.
but
Just as
suffice
long
to
as we know
say,
that you're busy. That's all we
yeah,
need.
suffice to say, this one is guerrilla filmmaking at its best.
Okay. Very
That's
familiar
all I'm
with
gonna
that.
say
Okay.
because some of this is borderline,
Okay.
maybe legal. I don't know. We might get stranded in Mexico. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
But it's
Okay.
gonna be an adventure.
Uh,
Okay.
It's gonna be a
Well,
that's a
at
good
great
least
time.
story.
at least
We
you've
might get
And
got
stranded in
proof.
Mexico.
At least you've
and
got proof on tape where you are going to be, so we have reference if we need to find you. Let
yep.
me just put it that way.
I've got bail
September,
money.
yeah, September of 2027
Okay.
is when we're gonna attempt to shoot it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. And Erik, for you, I mentioned that you're a first-time director. So, one question I have is asking about your most challenging experiences as a first-time director, and are you also planning to write and direct other future film projects?
Great question. I think my biggest challenge was not underestimating myself. That I've been a professional on large scope and small scope productions for almost a decade now. And I've been observing and tediously learning everything from lenses to light names
Mm-hmm.
to how things are blocked and rehearsed and pre-produced. So I think the biggest challenge was overthinking it. I wanted
Okay.
to be able to do it right. I wasn't expecting to hit a home run first crack out of the bag.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really did have that opportunity though when I started doing commercial acting. I mean, my first commercial acting job was with PepsiCo. You get really, really diluted. That's unbelievable. They put in a ton of time, effort, and finances into their production. They paid SAG scale, which
Oh,
is a
good.
great rate for a new actor who can do backflips. And so that the reason I got that commercial was because I could do a backflip.
Okay.
As a martial artist, I had been doing a level of gymnastic training for a while that got me to that elite level of
Okay.
physicality, and so as a function of that, even Danny McBride and Dale Earnhardt Jr. were very complimentary. I just can't
Uh-huh.
wait to see somebody do a backflip, and I did, and they were like, "Whoa!" And we shook hands. We were consummate professionals. When it was all done,
Okay.
everybody went home, and no one's talked to anybody since.
Oh,
So,
okay. Well, as long as you
um,
got paid, right? As long as
right,
you got
right,
paid. So that's the
and
important
well
part.
compensated. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was a big deal for me to make that transition, and I did overthink it a lot. But I'm most definitely going to be writing and producing and directing in the future.
Okay, cool.
I'm about the business of blue skying my new project. And right now, I'm really nose to the grindstone on the marketing and distribution strategy for Pockets to make that a home run with the limited budget that we have. But also, I have a unique philosophy that even though this is really my baby, I want to harvest this intellectual property. And so
Uh-huh.
I'm willing to, for the right price, with the right negotiation, walk all the way away if there's the appropriate studio or interest in producing such on their own accord, so that I can get on to the next project to make with Brandon.
Okay, okay. And interview pro platforms such as this is a great way to promote yourself, advertise yourself, and yeah, and good luck to both of you in the future. I know that both of you will continue to be successful, and you've both been successful up till now, and I no doubt that you'll just keep taking that ladder as high as you can go. Go as far as you can go. That's what I always try to do. Do as much as I possibly can, and you guys are perfect examples of that. Brandon with a track record in filmmaking. You, Erik, your first time filmmaker, but it's like it came off like you've been doing this all your life. So, and kudos to both of you. And I really thank both of you for being on my show today. It's been a pleasure and an honor and a privilege to speak with you again, with you, Brandon, and first time with you, Erik. Uh,
Thank you.
the brief time that we spoke before the interview and even during the interview, yeah, makes me feel like I've known you all my life, like uh, uh, just like I've known Brandon. So, yeah, very good gentlemen. Two good gentlemen here. Everyone out there in my audience. So two great filmmakers, gentlemen, very talented artists, and once again, Brandon. He's a retired Marine Corps second lieutenant with 20 plus years of experience, actor, producer, writer, director. I'm not finished yet. Filmmaker, owner of a transportation car rental business, and also has background teaching martial arts. Once ran a martial arts business. Erik, he is an actor, a writer, a first-time director, but you'd never know it by the project that he's put out. Yeah, you'd swear that he's been doing this for years. Filmmaker, a six-degree Taekwondo black belt, a father, also a stunt coordinator, another tool in his acting toolbox, and he's a great fan of adventures. So, to both of you, once again, thank both you, Brandon and Erik, for being on my show. Again, it's been a pleasure, privilege, and honor having you on my show. And for all of you out there, this will be available on my YouTube channel soon, once I upload it to my YouTube channel. So I wish all of you to have a good day and a good week and make the most of what you can do in your life. And we shall see you next time.
Thank you.